Let's go down to Dunkley, the by-election, of course, on the weekend. But what's become clear, neither side's taking anything for granted. Labor, as I said, I still regard them as favourites, but they're well and truly trying to manage expectations in the parliament this week. Apathy will be a feature in this electorate. It's a metro media market, so hard to get the messages out that there is a by-election on. I think getting the vote out, turnout on Saturday night will be something we'll all watch pretty closely. But someone who knows the seat well, Samaras, Director of Strategy and Analytics at the Redbridge Group, joins me now. Because help my viewers, this is a national program, of course, help them understand Dunkley. The weekly income there is below the national average, yet mortgage repayments are well above the national average. What sort of seat are we talking about, and what are the top of mind issues for people?
Yeah, for those who live in Sydney, it's out of Western Sydney. It's a seat like Blair in Brisbane, Hasluck in Perth, out of suburban, heavily mortgaged individuals. Yeah, as you stated before, don't know all that much. Lots of people with TAFE qualification, lots of financial stress, and that's effectively the best way we can sum up most of the electorate. There is a southern bit which is really well off, which I don't expect to see much volatility. I think the areas that we should watch on the night are those areas that are experiencing a lot of financial stress at the moment.
It's interesting, you know, swing to the government at the last election, a 6% and a bit margin, you'd say, if anything's safe these days, it's on the safer side. Popular local member, she didn't resign in disgrace, very sadly, as she died of cancer. So you wouldn't think that this would be in the maybe column for Labor. You think that this would be a strong result for Labor. One of the things that interested me, though, is when you overlay the Voice vote, though, there was a big movement away from Labor on the Voice. So this is a volatile electorate. Yeah,
that's right. And it's 12 interest rate rises in the mix as well. And we know that electorates that we identified leading up to the last federal election as electorates to watch because there were mortgage stress and there was a possibility of an interest rate rise, and we thought maybe that was going to have an impact. Look, it came along and it went. It really didn't hit the result all that much. But 12 interest rate rises later, we know that there is definitely an issue in the electorate now, and there's a lot of pain out there and a lot of anger. We don't know how that's going to manifest on the night. And that's why I think both major parties are kind of like guessing. I mean, seat-based polling is always tricky and very expensive these days. And so they are probably just hoping that, well, if you're on the Labor side, you're hoping that the swings in a suburb like Carrum Downs are minimal, and that you can just hold your own in a suburb like Frankston, which is a bit more affluent.
Given that the result's not going to change the government, how likely are that people will say, well, fair enough, okay, I'm not going to change the government. I don't want to throw out Labor. I'm a Labor voter, but geez, I want to give them a message. They're taking me for granted. They're out of touch. They promised this on power bills. They haven't delivered. I mean, how much will this be used to send a message to Canberra to smarten their act up?
Look, there is a danger that's going to actually occur. We will see that out on Saturday night if that's in fact the case. But speaking to Dunkley voters, and we've spoken to many of them ourselves, the overwhelming sense is that they've been ignored politically for the last 18 months, that the federal government's focused on other issues besides the affordability crisis. And so there's a lot of angst out there. When we ask them, well, okay, so are you going to vote for the other side, being the coalition, and they're in two minds about it. So there isn't this, you know, I'm going to vote for the other mob. We might see Labor's primary collapse and go to other parties. That's one theory. But we are seeing that across the board when it comes to both major parties, where whenever they lose votes, those votes don't go to the other major party, they go to minor parties. And we can see that in Tassie coming up soon. We've got a poll coming out on Friday where we expect a similar trend where Labor's not picking up any of the Liberal Party's losses.